Welcome to the show, everybody. A father is a protector, a provider, a nurturer, and a supporter. He's not optional. So many people would have you to believe that they can come or go, it doesn't really matter, but it really does matter to the development of your child. My first guest was going through a custody dispute with his former wife when she took his then 2-year-old daughter and disappeared without a trace. He petitioned the courts, reached out to anyone that would listen. Eventually, he himself became homeless, opting to use whatever money he did have to find his little girl. But giving up was not an option. After 2 long years, he found his daughter, Harmony. She was living in the Salvation Army homeless shelter 9 hours from his hometown. Please help me welcome Brian. Hey, man. Good to have you. Wow.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so proud of you for fighting for your child.
Thank you.
How did you lose her?
Well, you know, like most relationships, you know, they come to an end, and sometimes there's kids involved.
Right.
And in our case, she just took off, and I had no idea where they were at.
Were you able to speak to her, like by phone, or keep in contact for a while?
You know, when she first left, I was able to talk to her on the phone a couple times, but I still didn't know where they were at. I knew that they were somewhere in the state of Washington, but other than that, I mean, I didn't have any clue where they were at all.
You know, fighting to get back in your child's life is expensive. How did you get the resources to do that?
Well, I literally lost everything in the whole dispute. I lived homeless for a while. Not something I'm proud of, but you know, I did what I could. I played my guitar on a street corner for money. You know, I did have a job. I donated plasma. You know, to get money to eat. You know, I look back on it. It's all about the sacrifices you make. You know, and I'm proud of that.
So it was really hard times, but you were
really
still trying to do legal fees to get your daughter back?
Yeah, I was doing legal fees, and I was using any means necessary to do my own research work to try to locate them.
See, isn't that beautiful? A lot of times when you get in these custody battles, it's all about, did you send a check? But it's not just the father's money that's important to the child. It's not his profit, it's his presence. And it's his presence, it really makes a difference. And you wanted that. You really wanted to be in the life of your daughter. You wanted to continue a relationship. What was your life like with your father?
Growing up, my dad was really hard, you know. It wasn't the greatest relationship all the time, but, you know, we struggled for most of it.
So you welcomed an opportunity to correct in this generation what messed up in that generation?
I think absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So you're trying to fix that in this generation, and you're going hard after your daughter, and you made up your mind, I'm not giving up no matter what.
No, you know, and that's the thing, you know. I mean, my dad and I never had a good relationship, but my dad never gave up on me.
Describe for me the aching of a father's heart when you want your daughter or son.
Yeah, we had a much closer bond than I had with my other 2 girls because I was there from the time that she was born. As a matter of fact, her mother could not produce enough milk to be able to breastfeed her, and they donated breast milk and hooked me up with a little vial that attached to my shirt.
Okay.
And they attached a little tube to my finger, and I would sit there and I'd breastfeed her, you know, so to say, you know. And so we have that bond, you know, right from the start, you know.
So was she kind of daddy's girl?
She was, absolutely.
What was going through your mind when you couldn't get in touch with her anymore?
I went and filed for custody. I still didn't know where they were at. You know, I'd been studying everything I could about law, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing at all.
Right.
Fortunately, through my own investigation work, I managed to locate where they were located, and I was able to get her served with papers. But as soon as she got served with those papers, she was gone again.
Boy, couldn't find her. Nobody could find her.
No trace. You know, nobody knew where she was at. Court date was set up, and she didn't show up.
When your daughter didn't show up, did you feel rejected? Did you feel like maybe she didn't want to be with you?
My biggest fear was that maybe she just didn't remember who I was.
See, a lot of times I think people don't understand this. The women get angry with the man. And maybe you have a good reason to be angry with him. Maybe he's not a good husband. But if you suspect that he's a good father, you don't want to use the child to beat up the man because you don't like him. I think sometimes when I read your story, I think for me, it was almost romantic. It was almost romantic because love is often determined by how much you are willing to climb over to get to me.
Yeah.
That says I'm valuable. And there you are homeless. You should have been getting a coat. You're trying to pay legal fees, trying to get back in her life, running from city to city, fighting to get her back. And then what happened?
I was granted the custody and everything, but I still didn't know where she was at. And somebody was looking down on me.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
I had a friend of mine who lived in the Spokane area, and he called me up and he says, I just drove by the Salvation Army shelter. I think I seen her car there.
What happened in your heart?
In my heart, there was just that wrenching, like, okay, I'm finally gonna find her. I told my mom, and my mom and I packed up a vehicle, and we were on our way there that day.
Beautiful. Describe to me what that moment was like when you first reunited with your daughter.
Oh gosh, I had to go to Spokane and file for what they call a writ of habeas corpus. The judge signed the papers. I waited out in the hallway, and yeah.
You hear that voice? It shuts you right down, right in the middle of a sentence. Well, let's shut everybody down. Come on out, Harmony. No wonder you were searching so hard for her. She's amazing. Hello?
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good out here with all of these people?
Yes.
How does it feel to be sitting in Daddy's lap?
Well, I love Dad.
You love Dad. That's sweet. Looks like Dad loves you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, when I first got her back and she came out to me, you know, I looked at her and I said, Harmony, Daddy. And, you know, she, sorry,
It's all
but
right.
yeah, she kind of looked at me, you know, oh. And then she walks over to me slowly and climbs up in my lap and she says, I love you, Daddy. And that was the first time that I'd ever heard her say, I love you, Daddy. Because when she left and was gone, she could just barely talk. And so, you know, you can't replace that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, you know.
I'm trying not to cry. Okay? I'm trying real hard not to cry. But if you could see how she is clutching him and how he is crying and she's holding on to him, who would deny a child of this? Because a lot of your relationships with men later are affected by your relationships with your dad. She needs this. What would you say to other men who are out there fighting for their child?
Don't give up. Don't give up. You know, do whatever is necessary to be a part of your child's life.
Even if you have to change your ways.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have inspired other dads to never give up on their children and that it is valuable, that it is important, and reminded mothers that it's not just about the check he sends or doesn't send or whether he was early or whether he was late or the bimbo he married. It's about the baby. Think about that. Hey, everybody, up next, a father who became an internet sensation when a video of him styling his daughter's hair went viral. Don't go away.